check once.
Chat.
No, ask them to check once.
Now it is your turn. Yes, fine. Thank you. Okay, so good afternoon to everyone. Today we will discuss how to create array, and that array should be multi-dimensional array in Python. But before that, yesterday we talked about modules, package and library. So just I am taking a recap of few minutes regarding those concepts. So remember that modules is nothing but it is going to become a program which are written in a file. Sometimes our program going to become longer. We should divide that program into many files. Now these programs become more easier for to maintain and manage. But in case our system have so many files, that is so many modules, again it will be a problem for us to manage and maintain those modules. So further those modules are going to be arranged in the form of package. It means we are trying to keep different folders, different directory. In that directory we are trying to keep the modules. Now it is easier for us to manage the module because they are kept into the different packages, into the different container. Once so many packages are going to become available in the system, again difficult to manage those so many packages. So further we can want to concise this packages by keeping those packages into the library. So library is basically going to become a collection of package. So library is nothing but it is also a form of package which is going to become a container which is contain not only the modules but it can also contain the packages which further consist of package, sub packages and maybe modules. So library is just a collection of package and package is a collection of modules so that we can maintain and manage our modules in a better way. But one thing we have to remember that when we are trying to create a folder or directory where we are keeping the many modules, so how our Python interpreter will understand that this directory is not a normal directory but it is a special kind of package or a special kind of container which contain the modules of Python. So for that purpose, whenever we want to create any modules and then we want to keep those modules in a package, so in case of package creation we should always keep one of the file into that directory. That file may going to become empty, not necessarily it can contain any parameter. It is basically initialization file. If sometimes required, you can keep some data there, maybe any configuration related to the system or maybe any other things which you want to keep as a one kind of it is a constructor or one kind of initialization code which are written into this init.py. So we should contain in every package to be one of the important files, that is the init.py, that need to be available there in a directory, and thereafter you can keep many modules, okay, many modules we can want to keep there. This file need to exist whether this contain any data or function or not, it does not matter. Now in case we are trying to create another sub package inside this init package, so again we have to create the init into that particular folder. So due to this init file, init.py, every file should have the extension of .py in case of Python. So init.py we are required to keep in a folder. So in a folder we are keeping many subfolder. Suppose we have one of the folder as a institute. Inside that institute we are keeping 3 folders: student, faculty and hostel. So because this institute is a package, so we should keep into this folder, into this directory, one of the file init.py and 2 more directly student, faculty, as well as the third one is the hostel. So now these are going to become again a directory, but we are saying that these directory are not a normal directory or folder, it is a specific package. So we must include into this student package again one of the file init.py in each of these 3 sub packages, that is necessary. And all the code, all the program which we are writing related to the student activity, that we are keeping into the multiple modules, and that we can keep and arrange inside a student, such as detail related to the student, maybe their marks related information, maybe their fees related information, maybe any institute level detail we can also keep here, that we can keep here. Okay. And similarly for the faculty we can also keep details.py, course, salary, family, which are related to the faculty. Okay. And likewise we can keep for the information which are related to the hostel, such as hostel detail, staff detail, or any other facility which are required, or maybe mess detail. So this way we should manage our package, manage our module. Okay. So only this much we have to do. So this you have to remember that. Now if you are trying to write any software, any bigger program which consists of maybe more than 20-30 modules, which consist of further so many functions and so many variable declarations and operations, so that we can able to keep as a package, and that further can be kept as a library. So you can say that this package is going to become one kind of library. So if you are saying that this package consists of maybe hundreds of, maybe more than hundreds of different packages, further they contain some various sub packages, in that case we can say that that particular package is going to become a library. Fine. So that way we can make this operation to be happen, and whenever we are trying to create any package, so that package we can able to import, access in any our program with the help of calling the import statement. So we can call the import, and then we can write the name of package which we want to call. So we can write say sample package, that we can write, and inside that sample package, if we are interested only for one of the module, so that module list.sum we can write, and thereafter I can able to access only the list sum module, in which whatever the code are written or functions are written, then can be accessible into the test.py. But this sample package also contains the calc operation.py, so that we could not able to access if we are calling only the import sample package. Okay. So if you want to use the calc operation, so either we can import the calc operation, or we can able to make the import of the sample package only, and no need to specify the individual modules here. Now once we have been added this particular package inside the sys.path configuration file. In that case, after doing the import calci operation, that could also going to be accessible. Okay, so this way we can able to manage all these kind of different modules and the packages in the better way. Which two statement you are talking about? Two important statements in file. To this to particular this current slide I am discussing. Anyway, you can type your query in the WhatsApp. I can take it later on. Okay, I could not able to understand your question, so you can write the complete statement. Okay, you are talking about import. Okay, here see imports are two way. If you want to import, it means we want to use some of the modules which have the modules, so we can import. See, whenever we have some program which we have written as a package and say come to this point. Now this is some modules we written, right? So these modules have been written, but that modules we did not kept inside the some of the package in the folder. So if we want to use a particular module which are available in a particular package, so we can able to import that particular module. Say here we created one of the module square.py which was kept in the somewhere in the folder, and then we want to use square operation, and to use this square operation we are required to first import that module. To import that module we are required to use the import square program. So now these modules are going to be used, and then thereafter we can able to use the particular maybe variable, maybe any of the function through the dot operator. So we can use the name of that particular module, say square program. In this square program module we have the square, so dot square we have to use, and since this square function taking argument, we can pass the argument just like a normal program. Okay, if you want to use the book list to be display, we can use the square program dot book. Okay, now here if you are talking about this calci list, there will be both way we can able to use it. Okay, so if you are going to be use this, so there are two options. One is that I can able to use this import to be happen with the package, because we are creating a package. So how that package can be import? It means complete information or complete sub package as well as the modules can be accessible if we can use that particular import that particular package. So what we should do, if we want to use only one module, so we can use the import calci operation. So related to that operation we can access. If we want to use this calci operation, that we can also import by using the import. We can use the sample, both way is going to work. Sample package dot calci operation, that is also going to work. It is not built-in package, that I am talking about some package we are creating, user defined package we are doing here. Okay, but if you want to use any of the built-in function, built-in package, we can use the say import numpy. This is one of the inbuilt package, so there we can also able to use the import. Okay, so there are two ways. Either we can use the module, import module, or we can use the package name dot module, or we can also import our package by doing the import sample say package. And if you are going to write the star, this say that all the sub modules or any of the modules are there that can be accessible. But problem is that in this case we are required to know what are the different modules are there. So if we do not know the modules, we are required to specify the individual modules. That's how we can able to use that. So there are two ways we can able to do that import. Okay. Yeah, both are going to become correct. Okay. If you are doing the import calci operation, that is also perfectly okay, because we are importing the module, and by importing the sample package dot calci operation, it means we want to import the calci operation from the sample package directly. Ultimately, sample package is a folder, and we are interested to import the module. So modules need to be always mentioned along with the package name. That is the convention are required to be followed. Right? So this code you can simply create. It is not required any kind of special understanding. You just create one folder and keep there this file init.py, and some of the different file you can make it, and then in another program you can directly go and use that one. Already this code I will share with you. Notebook code, Jupyter notebook code. Fine. So this you have to try, because that is the important. Whenever we want to create any of the project or some of the larger program, there this kind of management of the files or the modules and programs are necessary. Okay. Fine. So now I am going to discuss another important topic regarding the how to create two-dimensional array. So basically, in case of Python, it does not have way to create a two-dimensional array. We do not have any other built-in function through that we can able to create two-dimensional array. So this two-dimensional array, if we want to create, we should create as a form of list. So basically, array if you are going to talk about, it is going to become a linear data structure which consists of all elements, and that element need to be of the same type. If they are the same type, it is also required to be in the contiguous memory space. That is the understanding of the basic concept of array. So if you want to create a list which we know how to create in the Python, we are basically using the L, and this symbol we are using square bracket and writing 2, 3, 40 and 50, because this array is a collection of same type of data, so we can keep into this list similar type of value. So this is going to become a list, but it is nothing but one dimensional array having one row and many columns. Okay. But if we want to define two-dimensional array, so two-dimensional array is nothing but it is one kind of representation of 1, 2, 3. This is one list, and we have the 4, 5, 6 second list, and we have the 7, 8, 9 third list. If we can arrange in this fashion, one over another, so we can get one two-dimensional array. So this is how it looks like. It means one-dimensional array I can keep arranging one over another, we can get a two-dimensional array. So if you are trying to use the list, through the list we can create a two-dimensional array. Now whatever the array we have, conceptually array always going to be start with the index 0. So if you are taking this one-dimensional array L, 2, 3, 40, 50 is the element, they should always start with the index 0, 1, 2, 3, which is happening in case of the list also. And if you are going to use the two-dimensional array, we should create that two-dimensional array basically as a list, using the list which have the many rows and many columns. So how we can create this two-dimensional array? We should use one of the list. Okay, this is the one list. In this list we can use whatever the number of rows and columns are required, that number of rows we can give, rows 1, rows 2, rows 3. So this is the again value is a list, second is also a list, third is also a list, and this list consists of any number of columns. So we are creating one two-dimensional array. So if you want to create 3 cross 2 two-dimensional array, in that case we require to have the 3 rows and 2 columns in each row. So we can keep here the value 1, 2. Here there should be only 2 value with the comma. Here in the third row also some value with the comma. So now this looks like a 2D array. Okay. So we can create any array with 3 row and 5 column using this list. So two-dimensional array is nothing but it is a list of list arranged in a sequence which are going to be similar to the vector or two-dimensional array. So here you can observe we are creating one array, two-dimensional array num having 5 values in one row, and second row we have again 5 values, third row again 5 values. So they are going to be separated by the comma as a first value is one list, second is second list, third is the third list. So this way the representation are going to be happen. If you want to display, we can get this as a two-dimensional array. Now this array which is in the two-dimensional notation we can access using the index, using the index position. So how we could use? We are required to use the index array name, say array name n, then we can use the index, say r index. This r index basically represents for the row in this two-dimensional array n, which is nothing but a list which consists of list. So we can able to access all rows of any of the two-dimensional array using the name of array, and then we can use one of the index which represents the row index. If we want to access column values, then we can use the 2 square operator for the indexing, where we can use the array name and then we can use the one index for the row, other index for the column, which specify that in 2D array n we are referring the rth row and the cth column value. It means that whatever the 2D array we are defining using the list in the Python, that will be looks like a hypothetically 2D array, which is nothing but matrix which are represented in a tabular format. However, it will be looks like we are keeping one dimensional array, it means list, and arranging it into a 2D format. Okay, so this is the first row is the list, second row is also list, third row is also list. So that representation we are assuming for the 2D array, which we want to represent through the help of list. Using the list only we can create. Can we also use the tuple or set to create a 2D array? Is it possible? What dictionary can we use? So this tuple you could not use. Okay. Reason in the tuple is that if we want to modify any content of the array, that we could not able to change, because in the array we can also change some value whenever required. Okay? So that we could not able to achieve in case of tuple we are going to use to define the array. So let us take how. Now let us take here, we taken one example to demonstrate you. We have been getting one 4 cross 5 dimensional 2D array. So you can see that we are required 4 rows. So we have been created inside one list. It is a list which consists of list. So first row as a list, comma, second row as a list, third row as a list, and each list will consist of 5 columns. So this will be consist of 5 values only. Okay. So that way we are trying to represent the 2D array. If we want to display the array, we can use the print array. Now this print array, what does? Array is a list of list. So we will get this array as a list. You can see it is coming the same list which are going to be displayed. But our 2D array should be not looks like as a single row. It is looks like a single row. It required to be multiple row. So this representation, if you want to get, we can use the different way of displaying the values which are stored into the this 2D array. So what we should do, we can use the for loop for I in rank 0 to 4, because we have the 4 rows, and each row we should display one after another. So whatever rows are given, that we should display one after another. So first row we can want to display, then below that one we can make the second row should be displayed. So array I what it does, it will going to be display the first list, first content, first item into this array list is one of the list. So that will get this first, and then we can go again and make the second value into this master list should be displayed. So second are going to display like that, third and fourth. So that way we can get a outcome which going to be resemble similar to the 2D representation. Now it looks like a 2D visualization, but internally it will be stored like a list as a 1D array. If we want to get any particular row, we can able to use the array, say array 2. So this say that we are interested to display the third row, first, second, third means 89, 90. So 89, 90, 65, 44. If we want to get a particular cell, particular column of a particular row, so we can use the 2 index. First index show about the row, second index talk about the column. So we can get in the second one means second rows. In that case 2 means third item, 0, 1, 2, it means 54. So we can get a 54. Okay. So like that, array 0 means we are going to be get the first row of this particular 2D array. Remember, if you are going to create any 2D array, so it is mandatory that in every row sufficient number of column value need to be present. Suppose we are making the 4 cross 10. So this will going to become a 4 cross 10 matrix only when we are going to provide in every row 10 values. Otherwise this will not going to become a 2D representation. Although we can keep the value to be 0, but that is mandatory to keep to be a 2D array. So less number of value we could not keep, and more number of value we should also not keep, because we knowing that we are creating a 4 cross 5 2D array. So how we can give 5 more than 5 values in a single row? So program we are going to be create. So we have to ensure that we should ask from the user only that number of column values which is necessary for the size of column in the particular 2D array. It is the programmer responsibility to make this restriction to be maintained, either through the program writing some instruction, either if this number of value in the column which are given reading from the user is going to become larger than the 5 values, then it should not going to be, either you can terminate the program or you can able to take only first 5 values. Some kind of pre-processing you are required to perform, then the 2D matrix can be created. Now let us come to another example where you can see the first row num0 already we discussed. Row 2 we can get by the first index, only one index to give me the row. If you want to get the first row and third element, use the 0 2. So first row and third element 43 are going to come as a output. So like that we can use it. Now if you want to, this is the way we can display. Now other way by which we can display this 2D matrix is using the 2 for loop. That is also one way. One thing we did that using the single for loop. Here single for loop we have been used and displayed the matrix. Okay. Second option we can able to do where we can use the 2 rows, 2 for loop to display the outcome. So here we can use one loop for the number of rows, second we can use for the number of columns. So what it does that it will take the first rows from this number 2D array and keep into the rows, and that row is going to become again a list. So again we have to execute a loop where this will going to be performed till that list are going to be adjusted, and then we can able to display the that particular column value. Once that rows all the column value was displayed, then we can go to the new line and again we can take the second row and going to display the second row. If you want to create any, but then you are required to create any empty, and that is not permitted basically. We will check it. We'll check it and show you. Let me to first finish this discussion, then we're going to take this example how it should be solved. Fine. So this is a way we can able to make this display to be happen. Different way we have the option to do that one. Okay. Or if you want to perform some operation over the 2D array, we can also do that one. Here we are taking the 2D array which is going to become it is not exactly two-dimensional array, because if you can see this second row, the value was missing. So this is not basically the correct. So we are taking a this is not the correct way. We have to take the 3 cross 3 we have been taken two-dimensional array, because any m cross m matrix should have at least m rows and m values in each rows have m values and we have n number of column rows that is necessary. Right? So what we can do that we can take the first row values and then we can able to scan each of the value within that particular rows and going to be add that value. Okay. and then we can take the second one, and then from the second one we can again going to take individual item and going to sum that one with the previous sum. So like that we can able to do the addition or maybe subtraction of two-dimensional array. Fine. Or if you want to create, the problem is that how we can able to initialize. So we can able to create one array. An array is what? Array is nothing but it is one kind of list, and list we can create as an empty list. How we can create an empty list? We should just use the name of variable and making this square bracket to be empty. So now this is creating one of the empty list A. This A is going to become an empty list. Now this empty list, later on I can create either multiple value, and that value which we are giving, that value again need to be given either in the form of list or maybe as an individual item. So here you can observe that we have created one of the empty list, and this empty list we are trying to create as a two-dimensional array. So initially we have created one list which are list A is nothing but it is looks like list, but we are assuming that this A need to be keep the data in terms of the 2D array. So A will be here assumed to be 2D array. So number of row we have been taken as a input, and then we are trying to make the number of column values to be read or going to be generated using the split list comprehension and going to keep in each row. So if you want to do any value to be added to the list, we should use the fn. So fn is going to be used here. So we are going to be using the list comprehension. So we know that how many values are required in each column. So that if you want, we can also mention in the input as a enter, maybe say 4 values. So that say that every, it means every row should consist of only 4 values. It means it has the size of column will be 4. So like that you will get a 4 input from the user, and that will be further converted into the integer and going to be appended to in this particular list A. Remember that whatever this outcome we are getting after this list comprehension, that we are getting, it is going to return us a value in terms of the list. It is giving us the list. Okay. So they are going to be create a list, and after then they are going to be created one two-dimensional array. Now we can able to display this two-dimensional array which was formed by using the to loop, and then we can display that item. So now you can see here object we got this one. Okay, this is coming number of rows which you want to get. So number of row it is asking. So we are say here I am keeping this 2, number of rows suppose 3,